I'm here with your Astro Chat for the month of July. And so what this is just going over some of the major transits, the major astrological happenings for the month. I have here in my day planner, this is my calendar, and I've got all of the different transits and things that are going on in here. So it's my handy dandy reference book. So we'll go through that in a second. Just a reminder that for the month of July, I'm going to be having a sale on my readings on my Etsy shop. So readings that are usually like $50 will be $40. $40 readings are going to be $30 readings are going to be $25, and $20 readings are going to be $15. Just for the month of July. It's kind of like a little summer sale that I'm doing. So if you're interested in all, you can check it out over there. Also on the Patreon this month, we are going to be working with Eos, the goddess of the dawn and new beginnings. And also in the Witch School, we're going to be working on psychic development and divination. So if you're interested in any of those things, you can check it out below in the Patreon. So shameless self-promotion is over. Let's get on with what's happening in July, which is probably what you're here for anyway. So what first thing that happens in July is we have today, July 1st, we have Mars moving into the sign of Leo. Now, Mars usually takes about 2 months to go through a particular sign. It moves about half a degree a day. So we're going from Mars in Cancer, which is kind of much more of an emotional type energy. So Mars is about our drives. It's about what motivates us. It has to do with sexual desire, also with competitiveness. It's our will. It's our sense of inner will and desire. And so when Mars is in Cancer, people are a lot more moody. They may be less direct about asking for what they need. There's a lot more emotional energy, and your will is really driven by your emotions. So it can be really up and down. And also there's a tendency for people to be, I'm just going to straighten out this camera because it's bothering me. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. There we go. People can be a little more passive aggressive instead of direct, because Cancer likes to go at things sideways, not directly, because its sign is the crab. So we tend to go in a roundabout way, trying to get our needs met, or trying to enforce things, our desires, or push our will, or whatever it is. We go about things in a more side sort of way, sidestepping things. But when Mars goes into Leo, Mars is a lot more fiery, a lot more direct, a lot more pushy, kind of on the negative side, but it is much more direct. And there's a lot more sort of expressive energy going on. There's no doubt about what people want. There's no second guessing. And for some people, this is good because it encourages them to be more assertive and more outgoing, and especially if they're, naturally a little more passive. But for people that are already quite assertive or even aggressive, this can go into like being pushy and bullying a bit. So that's some of the energies to watch out for. So we're just going to look at the cards here, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. So Mars in Cancer, the word they have here is quarrel. And so because we're driven by emotions, there's a lot more a tendency for there to be misunderstandings because people aren't asking for their needs to be met directly. Whereas Mars in Leo, here it has egotism, and it's got a rooster with a guy's face. I think that's kind of funny, but it's very much about crowing, tooting our own horn, and posturing and strutting our stuff. But it can be aggressive as well. So it's all about using that energy over the next 2 months wisely to be assertive without being pushy, and also recognizing when someone else is being a little pushy as well. The next thing we have on July 2nd is we have a eclipse. We have a new moon in Cancer, and it is a solar eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse. I don't think it'll be visible from here in North America, but it is any eclipse that happens is a time of, for solar eclipse anyway, it's a time of new beginnings. It's a good time to make a new start. So it's kind of like it's a new moon with extra energy to it. So use that wisely, especially if there's been changes or disruptions of any kind over the past while. Use that energy to kind of make a new start, to make a new change. It's really good energy for that. New moon in Cancer, it depends where the Cancer house is in your chart. So take a look at that if you know your chart for where you want the energies to go. where you can put some intentions into. But generally speaking, Cancer rules the fourth house, which is emotions, it's home, it's family. So any new beginnings you want in that particular area, this is a really good day to do spell work for that. Now, over the next year or so, the eclipses are going to happen in Cancer and Capricorn. They follow the nodes, and the nodes cycle for about a year or so. And so anytime we have Cancer and Capricorn new and full moons, that is when we're going to see eclipses. So we're on that particular cycle. So again, look at where Capricorn and Cancer, they'll be opposite each other on your chart. That's where changes and revelations are going to occur over the next year or so. Solar eclipses have to do with new beginnings, and lunar eclipses are about revealing the hidden. They're all about revealing to us things that we did not know. So we have new moon on the 2nd. On Wednesday, July 3rd, Venus moves into Cancer. Venus has to do with our aesthetics, our sense of romance, how we see beauty in the world. And so we go from Gemini, which is all about being very hip, going with trends. It's all about, trying different things and talking about different kind of stuff, to kind of a more settled energy. Cancer is a lot more of a homebody, a lot more, it likes older things. It's not about the new and the hip like Gemini. Cancer is all about the old, the historical. So it's, expect to see sort of with beauty trends and in the aesthetics, a little bit of a harkening back to retro themes or to the past, because Cancer is all about memories and it loves that kind of stuff. Also romantically, we want to spend more time at home, or we might be hosting people, or we just kind of want to be cozier and, not so outgoing and not so extravagant when it comes to our romance and our love life. There also may be issues that come up, like mother issues with expectations of female roles, that kind of thing over the next month or so. The next thing we have is a Mercury retrograde, which starts on July 7th and goes until July 31st. So for the entirety of the month of July. Mercury starts off in retrograde in the sign of Leo. He moves backwards into Cancer. Where is he here? Because he goes back into Cancer on the 19th. And then he moves forward again. So he's in Leo, and then he moves backwards. He crosses back into Cancer, and then he'll move back into Leo again in August. So Mercury is all about our communication style, and so he's going into Leo, which is a lot more expressive. But because it's in retrograde, there's going to be some misunderstandings. There might be missing documents. There might be snafus with technology, miscommunication, that kind of thing. So look at your Leo house to know where that's going to occur. He's then going to move backwards into Cancer. So then look at your Cancer house, because some of that energy might switch into the Cancer house, those kind of misunderstandings and technological and travel snafus and that kind of thing in your Cancer house. So we go from being very expressive to back on the 19th into Cancer, where people are a lot more emotional in the way that they're speaking to each other. They may not be as direct, as I was saying before, with the Mars in Cancer energy as well. And then it goes direct again on the 31st. So for July, be patient with yourself, be patient with others. If somebody says something where you're like, did they mean that? Ask them again. Double check, tickets, keys, all that kind of stuff may go missing. On the bright side, it's a great time to review things. It's a great time to redo things. It's a great time to go over stuff that you might want to, redo, all that kind of stuff. And you're more likely to find lost objects. So it's not all bad, Mercury retrograde. It kind of gets a bad rap. The next big thing that we have, what do we have here? We have a full moon in Capricorn on the 16th. So this is an eclipse as well. This is a lunar eclipse. It is a full moon in Capricorn. So full moons are a great time for gratitude, for releasing energy, also for adding an extra oomph to any long-term spells. So look at that area of your chart that Capricorn rules. Generally it rules the 10th house, it rules career and our public face, so you might want to put some energy into that. But because it's a lunar eclipse, lunar eclipses tend to bring up information, to bring things to light that are hidden. They reveal something to us. So watch for revelation in your Capricorn house around that time. We also have the sun moving into Leo, as it usually does, on July 22nd. So we go from kind of that more sort of homebody Cancer, soft energy to Leo wants to get out and party and, enjoy the sunshine and be out there and be social and perform. And it's a very sunny, exuberant type of energy. So we'll be moving into Leo season around that time. And then we have Venus moving into Leo on the 27th of July. So Venus as well in our aesthetics, whereas we start the month really wanting to, harken back to the past, and we're a little more wanting to be romantic at home. Now it's like we want to put our love on display. We want to be more showy, more out there with the way that we're dressing and with our style. There's a lot more extravagant kind of Leo energy going on. We have to watch overspending as well. That's the thing with Venus and Leo as well. So those are kind of the big major transits that are going on for the month. We do have some smaller transits as well. We have Venus making a sextile with Uranus on the 8th. And Mars has a conjunction, or Mercury has a conjunction with Mars on the 8th as well. So you might meet someone unusual that day. People might be more forceful in the way they talk. That's the day where there's going to be, I think, more misunderstandings, especially as the retrograde has begun. The Sun has an opposition with Saturn on the 9th. So that's the day where we may struggle to get organized, and there may be miscommunications with organization on that day. Thursday, the 11th, the Sun has a trine with Neptune and Mars squares Uranus. So there's some element of not just miscommunication, and I wouldn't say deceit, but it's like delusion on that day where there's misinformation about something. So don't believe everything you hear, especially because that's a day where there's more likely to be something dramatic that happens in the news or something that upsets us of some kind. So don't believe everything you hear. Not all the information, not all the facts are there. Sun is opposite Pluto on the 14th of July. So there may be some power struggles that day with people, especially during the Mercury retrograde. There may be your other people want you to do this, but you want to do that. So watch for some sort of like conflict on that particular day. Venus has an opposition with Saturn on the 17th, so we kind of have to choose between the practical and the beautiful on that day. But you can find a way to make it both work if you really look for it on that particular day. Venus also has a trine with Neptune on the 18th. That's a great day for creativity. If you have any sort of creative activities going on that day, that will go very, very well. We have Venus opposite Pluto and Sun conjunct Mercury on the 21st. So that's a day of clearer communication during the Mercury retrograde. On the 21st, we are more likely to say what we mean and mean what we say. So it's a good day to communicate with people. There may be some power struggles or power dynamics between females on that day. There's some people who, there's people in the world who don't particularly care for women in authority. And so there may be issues around that in the news on that particular day. Mercury has a conjunction with Venus on the 24th, so that's a good day for romance and talking with your romantic partner. Mars trines Jupiter on the 25th. That is a great day to put some energy towards your long-term goals. It's a lucky day. It's a day where we can really push forward our whatever it is that we're desiring to work towards. Look at where Mars is in your chart for that particular day, because you can really put some good energy behind things. It's a great day to expand things. So it's a good luck kind of day. And then we have Sun making a square with Uranus on the 29th. So that's a day too where there may be disruptions. Things may not go exactly as we had planned them, and that may throw us for a loop on that particular day. So that's what I'm seeing for the month of July. It's going to be a busy month, a lot of shifting energies. We've got eclipses going on. We've got a Mercury retrograde. So it's a busy time of year, and it's also a time where there may be more disruptions and things and miscommunication. So be patient with others and be patient with yourself. And as always, peace and love and rock and roll.